You're right on time for Hope TV Newswatch on this 18th day of December 2023. A very good evening to you and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Kenedy Kimani and my co-presenter on the sign language interpretation tonight is Boniface Morethi. Now, President William Ruto has continued to receive backlash from a section of leaders and Kenyans over his recent remarks on using the ceremonial sword and power granted to him on dissenters of his affordable housing project. Speaking at a Thanksgiving Mass in Kisii County on Saturday, President William Ruto had claimed that the sword handed to him is a sign of power and vowed to use it appropriately. The head of state sentiments have since prompted concerns and reactions among Kenyans, with the Law Society of Kenya being the latest to condemn the utterances, saying they are a direct threat to the rule of law and administration of justice. Our very own Alice Diana begins our bulletin with the following report.
Nyinyi mlimpatia uwezo hawa watu wote ambao wanataka kutuzuia, mimi nitapambana na wao. Mimi nahitaji tu maombi yenu, kwa sababu si mnajua nilipatiwa panga pale, nilipatiwa sword kubwa hivi. Kwani mnafikiri hiyo sword ni ya kukata mboga? Si ni ya kufyeka wakora hawa? Ndawafyeka kabisa.
President William Ruto has come under fire following this statement that he made on Saturday during a Thanksgiving Mass in Kisii County. The Law Society of Kenya is the latest to hit out at President Ruto's promise to use the ceremonial sword to deal with people who are trying to sabotage his projects. Addressing the press today, LSK President Eric Theuri said the sword is meant to protect and uphold the Constitution, not to be wielded as an instrument of oppression.
The President's statements, which seem to label those utilizing constitutional court processes to question government decisions as adversaries of national progress, are a direct threat to the rule of law and the administration of justice. The Law Society, as a primary defender of public interest, finds such characterization misleading and deeply troubling.
LSK has called on President William Ruto to respect the ongoing constitutional process and refrain from issuing such veiled threats, saying the utterances amount to a threat to court, which is scheduled to hear and determine an appeal on the housing levy.
Those threats coming at a time when the government has already filed an appeal and at the Court of Appeal challenging the three-bench decision of the High Court. We consider that to be a veiled threat to, one, the judiciary, and two, to all the parties that are engaged in that litigation. And we, as a society, condemn such actions because they go against the Constitution. The Constitution guarantees the rights of every Kenyan to challenge and go to court where they feel that their rights are being threatened. Those rights cannot be taken away from Kenyans, cannot be impeded in any way.
A section of Azimio-affiliated leaders, including Rareda MP Otiende Amolo and Kileleshwa MCA Robert Alai, also criticized Ruto, highlighting that the threat extends not only to parties and lawyers involved in the petitions, but also to the courts handling the cases. Notably, LSK had joined forces with Busia Senator Okiya Omtata in opposing the implementation of the Finance Act 2023. Specifically, Omtata challenged the introduction of the 1.5% housing levy on all salaried Kenyans. The High Court on November 28th this year ruled the affordable housing levy unconstitutional as it imposed taxes on salaried Kenyans, excluding the informal sector. LSK President Eric Theuri has affirmed that the society will not be intimidated from challenging any government decisions that offend the Constitution. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Alice, for that report. President William Ruto has expressed optimism that his administration is taking the country to the right direction, assuring Kenyans that it may take time to achieve the results, but positive change will occur eventually. The head of state was speaking in a joint interview with media houses at State House Nairobi, whereby he also noted that the government is committed to lowering the cost of living. Grace Ahadi with the details.
As Kenyans continue to grapple with the harsh economic times, the government has reiterated its commitment to lowering the cost of living, however noting that it will take time, but change will occur for sure.
I have only one mission: to change Kenya. And by the way, I have every intention to do it. And I know very well that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. But it is never too late to do the right thing. You cannot be wrong by doing the right thing. So I intend to transform Kenya.
Speaking in a joint interview with media houses at State House, Nairobi, President William Ruto defended his tough stance, noting that through the painful and difficult decisions that he has made, the country's economy is now stable, free from the debt distress.
Our economy is stable, but the difficult part is still there. We still have to navigate. All we have done is to avoid the cliff, right? That we have avoided. Because we have negotiated, we have put brakes on expenditure. We have negotiated a good package with World Bank, with IMF, with development partners, with bilateral countries, China, Europe, and everywhere. And that's why I have been on the road so many times. People ask, what is he doing? It was necessary for me to step in and stabilize so that Kenya does not go into debt distress.
The president has at the same time defended the increase in taxation rates, noting that Kenya being a middle-income economy, it is imperative that it is at par with other middle-income countries in terms of economic growth.
If we want to continue to make convenient, politically correct decisions, we will continue to remain in the same place. And I know, for example, that it is politically expensive. I would be a very popular person if I abolished tomorrow. I said, okay, let's forget about the housing thing. People will clap for it. Transforming Kenya is not a walk in the park.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for that. Grace for that report. And the Ministry of Education has today released the 2024 Form 1 placement results, placing over 1.4 million students in secondary schools. Kabianga High School, Nanyuki High School, Pangani Girls, and Kapsabet Boys are the top 4 high schools that the 2023 KCP learners chose to join. According to Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu, 28,052 candidates, however, failed to make choices of secondary schools they wish to join. Machogu has, however, assured that the ministry still ensured they were placed somewhere in the government's commitment to achieve their 100% transition rate.
All the 1.4 million candidates. Today I wish to announce that all the eligible 2023 KCPE examination candidates have been placed in all our public secondary schools. However, all over-age learners have been forwarded to the Directorate of Adult and Continuing Education for placement in adult and continuing education institutions. It is important to appreciate the fact that the selection and placement exercise was strictly guided by the principles of merit, choice, equity, affirmative action, and availability of space.
Moving on swiftly, and President William Ruto has said that the government is committed to bolstering intergovernmental relations to strengthen devolution. Speaking during the 10th National County Governments Coordinating Summit at State House, Nairobi, the president said his administration has effectively supported county governments to enhance their capacity to deliver services to the people.
We request that when the national government comes up with revenue collection measures, when they are being criticized, you don't partake, you don't join in that argument, because you depend on the same amount of money, and all the discussion we discuss with you as governors is how to increase your funding, is how to avail your money in time. So when we take those measures as national government, when other people are criticizing those measures, you cannot take part, because then it doesn't make sense.
The national government will allocate a grant of 250 million to the remaining 29 counties through the supplementary budget in the financial year 2023-2024 for the implementation of the county aggregation and industrial parks. We also aim to fast-track the signing of financing agreements for negotiated programs like Kenya Urban Support Program 2, facilitating inclusion in the additional allocation Bill 2023. I take this opportunity to affirm my commitment to the enhancement of our engagements through the summit by convening biannually in February and November, and gladly note that the IGRTC has already prepared summit's administrative guidelines and a calendar to guide future summit meetings.
President William Ruto has reiterated his commitment to fostering inclusivity and protecting the rights of ethnic minorities and marginalized communities in the country. The president's address marks the first official celebration of this significant day in Kenya's history, aligning the nation with global efforts to safeguard the rights of minority groups. The president's remarks were conveyed by the Prime Cabinet Secretary and CS for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi during the International Day for Minority Rights at the Bomas of Kenya.
Article 56 of our Constitution is particularly instructive on the steps, including affirmative action measures, that the state ought to take so as to ensure that minorities and marginalized groups participate and are represented in governance and other spheres of life, are provided special opportunities in educational and economic fields, are provided special opportunities for access to employment, develop their cultural values, languages, and practices, and have reasonable access to water, health services, and infrastructure. I am also pleased to note that today's celebrations come just 6 days after our Jamhuri Day, when celebrated our resolve to liberate our nation from all forms of injustice. It cannot be that 60 years after independence, some communities in Kenya are yet to fully enjoy the fruits of independence, let alone the feeling of recognition and inclusion. This, under my administration, will change. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am a firm believer in the promise of our Constitution. In me, you, the leadership and members of the ethnic minorities and marginalized communities, have a friend and a partner in your quest for space and recognition.
Crossing borders now, and at least 11 people were today killed and 88 injured in a blast at an oil terminal in Guinea's capital, Conakry. According to the head of civil protection, Jean Traore, the explosion at the West African nation's main oil terminal rocked the Kaloum administrative district in downtown Conakry, blowing out the windows of several nearby homes and forcing hundreds to flee. The government has said that the origin of the fire is unknown and an investigation will be launched to determine its cause and any party responsible. Incumbent DRC President Felix Tshisekedi, alongside other 2023 presidential candidates, held their final rally today, which was the last official day of the campaigns. An estimated 44 million voters are expected to cast their ballot in the presidential, parliamentary, provincial, and municipal elections on Wednesday in the vast African nation of about 100 million people. Well, it's now time for a quick break here on Newswatch, but after the break, I'll be back with the business and sports news. Stick around.
Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. Christ the Lord. Come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. Christ alone umeketi kwenye enzi yote, umeketi kwenye enzi yote. Yesu peke wastahili utukufu. Oh, come let us adore Him. Come let us adore Him. Come let us adore Him. He Christ the Lord. Oh, come let us adore Him. Come let us adore Him. Come let us adore Him. Christ alone umeketi kwenye enzi yote, umeketi kwenye enzi yote. Yesu peke wastahili utukufu. Yeah. Oh, come let us adore Him. Come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore Him. Christ the Lord. Hope Media, Hope TV, Hope FM, tunakuish Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Wake up every morning to an exciting moment of worship. With a powerful inspiration from God's word.
Psalm 84 verse 4 says, "Blessed are those that abide, that dwell in the house of God." The blessing is on those that dwell, those that abide. They have made the house of God their abode.
The kingdom of God is already with us in the present time we are in, but it will also be fully realized at the end of the age. But the kingdom has been prepared by God.
On Hope Devotion every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. The government of Kenya has today signed an economic partnership agreement with the European Union at State House, Nairobi. President William Ruto and the European Union's President Ursula von der Leyen presided over the signing of the agreement that aims to strengthen trade between Kenya and the 27 countries in the European Union. Our very own Nicholas Kivite with more details.
Earlier today, President William Ruto, together with the President of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, Earlier today, President William Ruto, together with the President of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, led the signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement between the Kenyan government and the European Union. The agreement aims to strengthen trade in various areas between Kenya and the 27 European Union countries, increase investment in various sectors, and contribute to a sustainable economic growth. Speaking at the event, President William Ruto has noted that the agreement will greatly benefit ordinary Kenyans economically.
This ceremony is important because we have successfully negotiated a framework for the delivery of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda by connecting our hard-working workers and entrepreneurs with transformative opportunities in one of Kenya's biggest export markets, which accounts for 21% of our country's total exports, worth $1.4 billion, or close to 200 billion Kenya shillings.
According to the agreement, Kenyans will now be selling their products in 27 member countries of the European Union without paying taxes. According to the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, who is also the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the agreement provides a permanent access to the European Union market for Kenyan farmers, artisans and entrepreneurs, thereby promoting job creation and innovation, as well as stimulating economic growth.
The signing of the European Union EPA opens up opportunities of increased market access and diversification of Kenya's exports to the European Union, particularly horticultural products. I also note that this trade deal includes substantial development and cooperation elements with a focus on sustainable provisions. These include climate action, environmental protection, and labor rights, amongst others. It will therefore be a catalyst for sustainable economic growth.
The Kenyan government and the European Union data showed that Kenya has become the main exporter of tea, coffee, flowers, fruits and vegetables to the European Union. These sales being 21% of its total exports. In return, Kenya has been buying machinery, medicine and various chemicals from the European Union. On her part, the President of the European Union has said that the European Union will continue to partner with Kenya in various sectors, while mentioning Kenya as a reliable partner.
For the European Union, it is very important to strengthen our supply chains and diversify them with trusted, like-minded partners. And Kenya is a trusted, like-minded partner. So we are deepening trade ties and we are building up our own economic resilience. So this economic partnership agreement is a win-win situation on both sides.
Reporting for Ob Newswatch, my name is Nicholas Kivite.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for that report. Agribusiness firm Kakuzi has been asked to explore carbon market opportunities to enable it to engage in sustainable community projects that will reduce poverty and achieve meaningful development. Speaking during the release of the Kakuzi Annual Environmental, Social and Governance Report in Nairobi, the State Department for Environment and Climate Change Permanent Secretary Festus Ngeno, in a speech read by the Ministry's Secretary of Administration, John Elungata, said that the government continues to strengthen partnerships by providing policies and legal regulatory reforms.
Ladies and gentlemen, at Kakuzi, we are fully aware of the impact of climate change advancing on our country, advancing on our families, our homes, and our businesses. We are fully aware that our government, in conjunction with international partners, are looking into ways in which we, as individuals and corporations, can mitigate what we now know to be a very precarious situation. We sincerely applaud all for this effort, but we know nature has formally put us on notice, as our legal friends are wont to say. Ladies and gentlemen, news platforms are full of stories about carbon, whether it's carbon neutrality, carbon negative, carbon offsetting, carbon trading, carbon sequestration, and we also have decarbonisation. We also hear too often about those wanting to paint a story of good, but fundamentally changing nothing.
I would therefore implore upon us to strengthen this partnership with concerted efforts aimed at contributing to the greater good of humanity. As a ministry, we will do our part in facilitating enabling policies, legal and regulatory reform, and to this extent, you know that the President signed into law the Climate Change Amendment Act that provides a regulatory regime for carbon markets. The carbon market legal framework will enable private sector to engage in sustainable community projects that will help us alleviate poverty and achieve meaningful development. As a ministry, we are cognizant of the role that the private sector plays in shaping sustainability, especially on environmental conservation and protection.
And to some sporting action now, the NCBA Kenya Invitational Junior Tournament came to a thrilling conclusion at the Windsor Golf Club, showcasing exceptional talent among the participating junior golfers over the three-day event that commenced on Friday. The inaugural tournament featured over 120 junior golfers from Kenya and various parts of the world. In the 15 to 18 years boys category, Tanaka Ashley of Zimbabwe secured the championship title with an impressive score of 6 over par, showcasing consistency with rounds of 70, 78 and 74. Meanwhile, in the 15 to 18 years girls category, Sanjana Sharma from Kenya claimed the top spot with a total of 49 over par, with rounds of 82, 86 and 97.
TBA has been supporting golf from 2021. We started with the junior tournament 2021. We did in 2022, and this year we have had very many participants here today. For example, in this NCBA Invitational, we have over 120 kids from 12 countries participating. That shows a number of things. One is that since we started, golf continues to develop in this country. The scores have gotten better and better. As we said in 2021, our idea was that in another 10 years from 2021, we'll have these kids now, they'll be adults representing Kenya, hopefully in the PGA, hopefully in the Olympics, and more importantly, winning the Magical Kenya Open. So it's very important that we stay on the course, we stay supporting them, and that's why we do this. In another 10 years, well now less than 10 years, we'll have some of these players qualify for the PGA and of course for the Olympics, and more importantly win Magical Kenya, which I think needs to be won by Kenyans. The second thing which is very important is that we believe in bringing families together, so families get to spend time together with their kids. I have seen families here, I've seen grandparents working with their grandchildren on the golf course. We think that is very important. So creating stronger families is also part of our vision and why we support junior golf.
Liverpool missed out on reclaiming top spot as they were held to a goalless draw by Manchester United at Anfield in the Premier League, ending their perfect home record this season. Jurgen Klopp's side had been knocked out of first place by Arsenal earlier on Sunday and will have recaptured a place at the summit with a win, but lacked their usual goal threat. Arsenal will take on FC Porto, while Barcelona have been drawn against Napoli in the UEFA Champions League round of 16. Following today's draw, PSG will face Real Sociedad, while Inter take on Atletico Madrid. Champions League winners Man City have also been given a kind draw as they take on FC Copenhagen. PSV Eindhoven will face Borussia Dortmund. Bayern Munich will go up against Lazio, and Jude Bellingham's Real Madrid will face RB Leipzig. The first leg of the knockouts will take place in February 2024, with the second leg coming up in March the same year.
And what a lineup it is. Well done, gentlemen. Let's have a look at the result of today's draw, running through all the matches. Porto taking on Arsenal, Napoli facing Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain playing Real Sociedad. Internazionale de Milano will be facing Atletico de Madrid, PSV Eindhoven taking on Borussia Dortmund. It is Lazio against Bayern Munich, Copenhagen versus Manchester City, and RB Leipzig facing Real Madrid. The first legs of the round of 16 will be scheduled for the 13th and 14th and 20th and 21st of February, and the return legs are then on the 5th and 6th, and then 12th and 13th of March. So you can mark your calendars now.
Well, that comes the end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Hope TV Newswatch. We really do appreciate the value of your time. On behalf of the whole team that made this broadcast a success, have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kenedy Kimani, and Boniface Moridi has been my co-presenter on the sign language interpretation.